the MVP Coffee Party.
Welcome to the next episode of MVP Coffee Party. This episode we have a new guest, and also we see Hans here. Hans is back with his new Surface headphones. No, not you, but with the Surface headphones. And while the other MVP Coffee Party edition is rendering, we will have a new recording with a very famous woman. And so, welcome and introduce Mia Chang. Da-da!
Ta-da.
So my first question is, hello everybody. My first question is this one. Where do you come from?
Yeah. So I come from Taiwan, actually. So I moved to Germany like in 2018 summer. And then, so now at the moment, I work in Berlin for about 1.5 years. And so far, I'm happy about the city. Yeah.
And what was the journey? You come directly from Taiwan to Germany, or was it for a study, or how does it go?
Yeah, I think like my first time when I visited Germany, it was in my master. My master was 1 year spent in Sweden at the time in Uppsala. So I think like, you know that?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then it was really nice time that you will know a lot of students from different countries, especially like Erasmus program that you will know a lot of students from Europe as well. So at the time I already visited Berlin and also some cities in Germany. I think I quite like it. And then after I finished the studying, I go back to Taiwan to finish my thesis. And then I spent 3-4 years working in Taipeh as a backend engineer and data consultant. And then later on, I think why not to try to work in different country, like in Sweden where I studied, or in Germany, like where I visited before. So I try to look for the position abroad, and then now I'm here.
And you know, Raphael, Mia is sitting behind me 2 years ago in Berlin at this Italian restaurant, and he told me that she is one of the MVPs, not in a big auditorium, but only I think it was 7 people together with Satya.
Yes.
Oi.
Yeah.
So we have the ladies. It's easy, you know. Louise, Mia, do you know Louise? So
Yeah.
Louise, as a sketcher, has last year at the Ignite, during the Ignite session, and make although a sketch. It was not paid. It was from her with Satya, and it was very good. And she sent it via tweet, and Satya has answered the tweet. So now we told it she's Satya approved. Approved, yes, because I think less people will have a retweet from Satya as an answer on these communication channels. So what was it? What was it? When was it? And where do you meet Satya?
I think it was in, I think also in Berlin Ignite event.
Okay.
Ignite dinner, I think so, yeah. So I think it was the event that I didn't speak at the time, but the CPN invited me to be there with people. So I just be there and then meet Sasha.
That's okay. That was that's cool. And therefore you told that it was so loud inside the room. That was a typical Italian restaurant. So now during Corona times, we would never have this happen. But 5 meters, okay, far away to do that. That's not so easy. And we have to talk about
Mia is MVP. Hans, wait. Mia is MVP.
What does it mean?
What's that? I only see an A. Hans, we only see an A.
Yeah, I only see like one AI.
Is it AI? Oh.
Is it?
You!
Yes.
So better. AI, what does it mean?
Yeah. So I think like AI for me is kind of like human beings try to teach computer as a bit more like humans thinking. So it's kind of like artificial. We put something like human rules things onto the computer. So actually, like I could share my experience for my first AI program. So it's a program that could play Japanese chess with human beings. So I think at the time we start like a really role-based one. Like if you have this board set up, like this piece could move to there and there. So you kind of add your own domain on the program. So at that time, I would say it's really artificial things. And then later on, you would add like more algorithms, and then your program will get more and more starter. So I think like if you think of AI program could play like chess, pokers, you could think like it's already started things for the AI. Yeah.
So for the AI part, we can talk a little bit about the bot. So I write with Stefan Bisser, that's also an AI MVP, and we try to translate different languages. So they want to digitize me, we have to tell you, and that means you know that a little bit. But we have a lot of problems with translation because it's not standard. If you do have an English language, or English database there, and we talk to the English database, it works well. And if you say, okay, now we switch to have a question in Dutch, that works also well, because all the things with bold and italic and the stuff came over, it was well perfect. But if you do it and say, okay, I do it now with Polsk, Polish is the language he never has. It's absolutely horrible. So the basic is that this translation will not so work. Microsoft has to work a little bit. Some languages will work very good. Portuguese with Sarah Barbosa or something. Just, hey, he speaks very well. That's okay. Yeah. But some languages is so horrible, and we have no idea what the reason behind the scene is. That is okay, but we have to look for that. And you work for a company, but you do not work as an AI part. You work at what part?
Work? Maybe you should put the paper a bit back. Perfect. Yeah.
Okay, next one.
This one. So about the position that I work in Berlin is a data scientist position. So the company that I work for, Achilles, is a real estate company. So real estate company means like you will buy some properties and then we upgraded it and then lease it out as a like upgraded apartment. So that's how our business model works. And then during the time when I joined the team, that actually we start from scratch, like totally zero. So at that time, only me and my colleagues, like we are 2 people. And then we have to set up the team. So during the year, like now I stay company for about 1.5 years a bit. And then we actually, like for me, I initiate the internship program because we only have 2 full-time people. It's totally not enough. And then our project is like keep coming, like 2 projects, 3 projects keep coming. So I initiated the internship project, and what's quite well that we got some students in Berlin, like they are really intelligent and help us a lot. So I think it's quite a good experience. And then I think that's how our team set up. And also the project that we are working on, there are something like text analysis and then price prediction. And then one of the projects that I'm currently working on would be like image tagging. So would be like there are a lot of different types of documents in our company, like PDF files, then we do text analysis. And if there's images that we kind of to help the image could manage a bit better, so you will add different labels and add the different purpose for that. So for example, some of the images with a good quality that you could send over as a marketing content. And some is just like the basic checking one, then you will know it's the inspection pictures. So I think this several cases are the one that I'm working on right now. Yeah.
Is it a German company or?
I think it's a Swedish company, but they have a lot of branches around different cities and countries. And then they only have one technical office, which is in Berlin. So that's why I'm here.
Okay. So the language is still English. They all just speak English all the time.
Yeah, I think English is the most. And there are some emails in our company also use like German and English at the same time. Yeah, so like we have a guy, he's like our office manager, like he maintained all the things, like if the elevator's broken, if the garbage thing's broken, that he always will write an email, which is really nice that he always tells us what is happening there. And he would put the German as the first graph, and then the English translate the second one. So I also learned by the time. Yeah, this is like really nice
cool thing.
Yeah, that I always check, oh, this sentence is this one in German. So I also learned from that. Yeah.
So, and Berlin is your city, or you traveled a little bit in Europe, and you were in Uppsala and Berlin. And if we talk, Hans, if we talk about Berlin, Berlin is the city of startups, of innovation and all of this. So yeah, it's from you, the surrounding in Berlin, is it? So what we think, it's a startup feeling, new companies, innovation and all of this, or what do you see in the real life?
Yeah, I think you mentioned a really interesting topic. Like for Berlin, when I first time visited Berlin, I actually joined a hackathon then. I haven't moved to Berlin, but I just traveled to Berlin, and then I registered on the time when I just joined the hackathon. So I actually found like there's a list of like how many hackathons per year in the whole world. So Berlin is the top 3 one. So that means like from the States, that maybe there's New York, or I don't know, Silicon Valley, maybe that's the first one. The second one is in London. And then the third one is in Berlin. So I was quite surprised that I could feel like every week or every 2 weeks, you will definitely have something happening there. Not this year, but at least the year that I arrived.
Wow.
So yeah, and then I also found, yes, there's a lot of like different startups here in Berlin. So for example, there are a lot of different small startups regarding like music industry, film industry as well. So for me, I'm also the person like who is really interested to see different movie festivals, musicians, showcasts, etc. So for me, it's kind of like a really combined technical and then some music or some culture stuff there. So for me, at the moment, I quite enjoy the city vibe. And then also like during the time when I stay in Germany, sometimes that I also travel to different city for the conference and then or for some like the traveling event. So I think like from the timing that I visit other city that I found, Berlin is the city like most people would just wear like really casual, like sometimes like topless or sometimes just t-shirt and shirts. And other cities more like suit up, and then you feel this more like formal when you work in different cities. So like for me, it's not like a good or bad. It's just like different. So for me, it's so interesting to see like Berlin is so different vibe city compared to other cities in Germany.
Compare, for example, to Munich or to Hamburg, or I know you were in Mannheim.
Yes. In Mannheim, that always summit.
My first visit in Berlin was go to Berlin via airplane to Tegel, and then via bus and then train to the location. And my first visit was, there were guys at noon with a bottle of red wine, sitting in the public transport, drinking wine and chilling, and that's Berlin. And so they are drinking wine today more and more, or
beer or some colors.
More beer than wine. Okay. They're building the capital city of Germany with hopefully next year, in 2 years, with a new airport.
We hope so.
Fly better to Taiwan. Don't fly to Frankfurt and then to Taipei. So one of these cultural questions. What are the top 3 differences between Germany and your hometown, for example? I think that's a cultural break, or?
Yeah, I think there are some cultural breaks. And there's something common that I think like the first culture shock would be the food.
Currywurst.
Like currywurst. So like sometimes like people will say, hey, there's a beer festival, let's go there. So I'm super excited about to visit the festival. And then you will see a lot of like the vendors, like 2 lines of the vendors. I thought it would be like so many kinds of different food. But everywhere you walk would be like currywurst, pink cake, currywurst, pink cake. And then it's like just repeating. And then there's some mushrooms, like peels. And then, so it's like when you walk the whole street and then you kind of know there are just like 3 or 4 different kinds of food for the whole street. And then we have like a night market in Taiwan, like you would almost have it like every evening. So sometimes in dinner time, we don't really cook. We just ask friends that, hey, we meet somewhere at the night market. And when we would just go there for street food. And then for like the one market, like you will definitely see Taiwanese food, Korean food, Japanese food, and Thai food as well. So then like the variety of the food is so different, like in Germany compare. So for me, I would say the first shock would be the food.
That was for me the same coming to Hong Kong.
Yes,
Hong Kong
definitely.
is a little bit one, because if you go in during the night and you see all this stuff, you go there, you find a Japanese restaurant on the left side, you find the Italian restaurant, the whole world inside one street. That's the thing.
Yeah, and then I guess the second thing would be beer. So the first one, so actually like in Taiwan, we don't actually drink so much beer. So like usually when you would think of the cost of beer should be a bit less expensive than Germany, but it's not. So actually the beer that I could get in Taiwan is more expensive than I could get here in Germany. I think it's like so unreasonable. It's like I found the categories here are all kinds of different kinds of beers. In Germany, it's super nice. And then before I come to Germany, I heard that some people will also drink beer at breakfast. So I was like, no, people will just get drunk. Like in the beginning, I just had the myth. But when I really arrived Germany and I taste a lot of different kind of the beer, I found some beers are so good at the breakfast, like the light one. So I think like for me, it's definitely a culture shock. Like, you could drink beer at the breakfast time. Yeah.
So that's the same when you say, okay, we have the same with Sarah. Sarah is also, she likes to drink beer, and she has a slide, the first slide with all the pictures drinking beer completely in Europe and so on. I like that.
Yes, definitely.
So and the other part is, okay, now we have the culture shock for food, the culture shock for drinking. What was the third one?
You mean for the third one?
Yeah, the third one.
Okay.
Differences.
Differences. I found Berlin is like a capital city of Germany, but still it's really green city that I really like. So that means a lot of park, a lot of like a green place that you could sit in the city, which is like really nice. Because like before when I stay in Taipei, I actually live just upstairs of a night market. So it's like a really loud place. And then when I moved to Berlin, like it's really compared the city kind of like you have like a resident area, park, and then there's some busy area, etc. So you could kind of like have a really relaxed time when you really stay home. So that's how I feel, like so big difference for like how the city is being laid out. And also like during like the Corona time that we have to like lock down at home. But I think it's for me still like nice that there's some green place around my place that I could go there work for some time. But I could imagine if I'm in Taiwan right now, it's so hard to keep social distance because the city is like really crowded and there's no like a lot of green place that we could go for the walk or just go for a relax. Yeah.
How many citizens has Taipei?
3 million.
The city, 3 million. It's like Berlin.
I think it's really like really smaller than Berlin.
Okay. Smaller than Berlin. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. You talk about working from home.
you you have all prepared.
Typical question in those times.
Yeah.
How was it? Do you have issues with working from home? How did you work during these times in March and April?
Yeah, I think like in the mid of March, I think before the Berlin government lockdown, like there are some, I think like one of our team members, his roommate went to a party, and then someone got and is convinced as corona. So we kind of like a second layers connection to the someone who is like get the corona stuff. So our team is kind of like quarantined a bit earlier than other people, early about like 2 weeks. And then I think like during the time then when we stay at home, I think like it's a bit different from working in the office, because then you feel you get less connection via online. I mean, like during the work time, like sometimes when you are work in the office, you just go to have a glass of water. You just go to some coffee machine, then you will pass your colleagues, and then you will just say something random words just to say hi, what are you doing right now? And then now when you work at home, it's usually you'll be like, hey, Raphael, do you have a minute? Let's set up a meeting. So it kind of like is a bit more formal than you usually will talk to people. So for me, I think like in the really beginning, I sort of like it's a bit weird have to be work like this. But now it's kind of like we already stayed home since the mid of March till now. It's already May. So I think we kind of like already get used to it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So there's social distancing. Do you have any issues to meet? And how do you go on the next time when we have lockdown less off? So do you want to go to the office to have it, or do you like also make a mixture of both, going to the office and sometimes working from anywhere on the planet? Because that's also the good thing. If you can, you need some phones, you need a laptop, you need Wi-Fi. That's all what you need. And that was my question. How do you go on, or what does the company say? Do you have to go? For example, Twitter says after they have to lock down or have locked off in San Francisco, it will take a little bit. But they can also work from home for the future.
Yeah.
So
I think there's some company would do so.
And therefore, some companies says no, you have to go back, and because we in Germany, in several companies, we have still some problems, and we have talked in MVP Coffee Clutch, a German version, with Heike, and I have to say, hey, they have not so much laptops, because several positions they have desktops. And the people have to go with the desktops and bring it at home. And you don't have to. Sometimes people do not have place for desktops and all the other stuff. So I have since 20 years working from home. So I have an office. So that I have no issue. Okay. Only thing is nice. I cannot have because I have to go to the haircut first time. Yeah. That takes a little bit time.
Oh yeah, haircut. We all know.
And then we see. But tomorrow I have the first workshop outside in person.
Yeah.
And people like that they come together. And sometimes, it will be a mixture, maybe.
Yeah, I think it would be like a mixture would be possible. Yeah. So I think like for my case, I am thinking of like maybe when we lock off, let's say. So definitely like our company will said like you're open to go back to office and working. So let's say Berlin government mentioned about they would open since the mid of May, and our company said we could stay at home till like the end of May. So I think there's some like 2-3 weeks buffer that we could decide either we want to go to office or not. And then also last Friday that I went to our office, like just to pick up something. And then I think it's also like now it's quite nice, like it's not so crowded on U-Bahn or S-Bahn. But I think like if the whole city go back together, it will be kind of like a packed again. So I think maybe from this case could be think of like maybe people will take different shifts. So for example, I go on Monday, you go on Tuesday, etc. Maybe they could slowly bring everything back to normal, like slowly, not really like everyone go back at the same day. Generally, will be definitely like a New Year's Eve, like everyone just go out and pack there. Yeah.
So I have the last one for my side. I don't well be prepared. Though we have that. Why? You have mentioned it. Why you come to Germany? Therefore, I have to take it away and have another question. Why are you going to conference and speak at conferences or meetups or something else? Why do you like that? So that's my why.
Your why? Why? Yeah. So I think like I think I'm quite lucky. Like since my first year at working environment, I already work in a company. There's an MVP in there. So so as like if you are an MVP, usually like you would like to share your knowledge, and then you would also like to bring people around you to different conference or meetups. So actually in the really beginning, I just follows like the senior developers in our team. They are MVP, and then they go to conference that I just joined, and they go to different Agile meetups. I just joined. So in the beginning, I just want to learn more about the technology itself. And then later on, I found there are different things happen. So for example, if we three are sitting in the same conference room, and then sometimes after the session, usually the people who is more senior would have more questions to ask, like, hey, what if? So for me, I kind of like, I not only learn from the speakers, but I also learn from the people that we went together, because they ask questions which come from the aspects that I didn't have. So then I can kind of like go to conference more and more. And then later on they said, hey, Mia, actually you go to a lot of conference. Maybe you could start to share internally within the company to share what have you learned from those meetups. So it's kind of like from a small things within the company. And then later on, because, usually if one MVP, they usually will come with their other friends as MVP as a group. So then, and they know I could do internal sharing, then they invite me to the local community group to do like the meetup sharing. And then once you start one, and then you will start like a conference, local conference, and then maybe the countries near you like Hong Kong and Korean, etc. So then I started my journey in this way. So I would say it's really lucky that in the really beginning, I start with knowing one MVP, and then I found like also people had like a really good vibe, they staying together, and then later they were just let's say encourage me to apply for that one. And then when I joined together, I found like MVP is a super nice family. It's like you not only get knowing the people in your country, but also when you go to the global summit, you will meet a lot of different people. And then, for example, you will know how's the things happening in Germany, in Sweden, etc., in States. Then you will know like how people actually use tech, and then in different company and in different culture. So then for me, that's why I think like to stay in this program is really motivate me a lot. And then I always see like some people who is more senior and who has more experience than me, they always pay more effort on technology things. So they always inspire me a lot. So I think that's why I think like I would still motivate to do like community stuff and talking, sharing. Yeah.
So that's the same question. Cool. You remember, Raphael, that we have some younger people during SharePoint Saturday Cologne. Yeah. We have the first thing, sometimes people want to speak. And the first thing people ask me, hey, I have submitted a session to European Collaboration Summit, blah, 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 blah. Where And I have to say, or sometimes we have to say, you remember that was a guy from Germany, and we have to speak him in Orlando during Ignite. He was a visitor in Ignite with the whole family. And we ask and say, hey, it's not so easy. You have to play not in the Premier League. You have to start in the smallest events to talk. It's difficult. If you have 300 or 400 people, you only see the first 2 rows, and that's okay. But if you only speak for 30 people, you only see the 30 people, and it's more difficult to speak for 30 people. Then you can react and see what's happened. So we have to say, no, you cannot play games in the Premier League. You have to start at the amateur Liga, the next Liga, and so on, to go to international conferences, and not at the first step speaking at international conferences. So therefore we gave them the possibility to say, okay, during Cologne we have to say, okay, we have 2 or 3 that we reach out from submissions. There are not MVPs, but they have the possibility to speak, and therefore we give them the chance to speak. And because otherwise, several people. And now during this event next week, we will have, after the build, that's the Office 365 marathon, Microsoft marathon, with 400 speakers, about 44 different
countries.
Lands. Country, yeah, sorry.
Land.
Yeah.
Is it Ausland in German?
Yeah, Ausland.
Yeah, Ausland.
Out of Germany. Ja, perfekt. Wir können das auch auf Deutsch machen.
Nicht.
So the thing is, that's the thing. For us, it's the same to speak in a different language. And I see it although if you go around and you come to Hong Kong. And so that's interesting that people come to you. Well, I know your blog on the other side of the planet. So that was very interesting. And I sorry, Raphael, that they canceled all your sessions during Corona, because he has to speak in so many different countries.
I will visit your home country, Mia. I have a speaking session.
I saw that
at Taipei, and it was cancelled. It's the same on Hong Kong. I want to travel and send Hans pictures, like Hans sent me pictures last year. But also cancelled. So but for me, now it's a challenge to talk. We are Teams, we are Citrix, we are WebEx, we are a live event and all of this. But it's working. But on the other side, I miss you in person. You all. Like talking with you in person, sitting in the Italian restaurant and talking about everything around the world, how you're feeling, all of this. That's this personal thing I'm really missing. And I'm really missing also to travel. And maybe we will see sometimes. Sometimes in this time. The first airplanes flying. So we will see what happens in the next month. And if the coronavirus, we don't have it to break a second breakout, we will fly. So we will see. But in this connection, that's very interesting, because maybe AI can help. Because that's for example, you have a health score. And I have a good health score. Okay, I need to make more sports. But if I have a good health score, then I can travel. You know what I mean? Or if you're living in this country, the risk is lower. And all of these big data analytics and AI combination, maybe it helps in the future. That's what I'm missing in this. That's what I'm missing in this discussion.
I'm out. I'm out because I'm the risk person with my age. You have so less presence. I have no chance. I have to swim to the States.
we have to talk with Draga, and you got one of these full suits in yellow.
Like an astronaut one, like an helmet.
So. What do you think, Mia? Do you miss all of your favorite topics in this discussion about Corona and global health system and all of this? or we don't see it? The normal people don't see it, and there are a lot of machine learning, big data, and all of this in the health industry and all of this. Or what do you think? Is it enough, or we need a little bit more to find solutions faster?
Yeah, I think as you mentioned, like if there are some data sets, for example, like the X-ray of the patient, etc., they would definitely help if you want to find some pattern. That's how the machine learning good at, to find different patterns. But I think like at the moment, because also we know the coronavirus also have different kind of like different various different kind, as I know. Like I know the virus in different countries, sometimes they will have the range or they will change by the time when they affect different people or different areas. So I think at the moment, like we don't have like a really good solution for that. So I also don't know when will be like everything will come back to normal again. But I also miss the thing, as you mentioned, like community stuff. And also sometimes you could just meet a friend in the cafe and then you could have some like cinnamon roll together. It's just like small things you will miss, like you connect with people and the community. Yeah.
And we have to do a lot of time because now we have 2 months or 3 months and we have to wait 16 months or something. Yeah, it could be a long, long time. And we will see what the world is doing about it.
Yeah, definitely.
I hope it don't happen next year the same or in 5 years or like this. So if we have only short time periods between the pandemic and between the crisis, and I hope no. So maybe in 2 years we will see in Redmond at the MVP Summit.
Yeah, since the next one will be the virtual one.
Next one is the next virtual one. I hope in the year later, so 22, we will meet us in person, but I don't know. I don't know.
But maybe we will meet earlier in Cologne or Mannheim or Frankfurt, definitely.
I think it will come because the German ones will go open. I still have a flight to Berlin because, it was 110 euro going to Berlin and back. And this is absolutely price. And you have it. I have it now in August or something else. But then I think it's a little bit more normal. And I know the people in the past that sometimes people are going to not the tube. They are going in Munich, going from Microsoft, going to the airport every morning, flying to Düsseldorf, going to a special vendor, and in the evening back. So that's a normal thing. The time for these short flights is the same as you are going outside in Berlin from outer city and come in. It takes also a little bit of time. So therefore, but these times are gone. And now you are able to have the first hotels will come and open, and then you see what's going on. I think it will a little bit more normalized, but we have to look that we will have not a backstart with the second wave, we call that.
No.
Yeah,
we are all experts in virology.
Yes, that's the same. Like we all experts in soccer for the soccer game. So soccer and sports. One of the the questions also my area. Do you have a favorite sports, Mia, or favorite music, or like this? Like Hans is every evening he collects his guitar and sings rock music.
You are?
No.
I almost believe it.
Yeah.
So I think like for the sport that I do most of the time would be like volleyball and basketball. And then I think like soccer is definitely new for me because like in Taiwan we have less people playing soccer, but I know like a lot of people, like when we were in Taiwan, we also stay up late for some of the German soccer games as well. When there's like a really big World Cup, then we will like also stay in the sport club, and then to watch the things together with friends. So like for me, before I come here, I already know soccer is a really big thing in Germany. Yeah.
If I was in Hong Kong, there was one guy, I like Germany, I like football. And you have the chance. There are 2 clubs. Only 2 clubs. And you have to look, okay, this person could like, and I say, okay, you are a fan of Bayern Munich. No.
Yeah,
no. And then you go to the other one.
Dortmund. Has to go to Dortmund. So that's a difference. Yeah.
Yeah.
So what is the favorite sports in Taiwan? What they play? Hockey or what? I guess I don't know. So
yeah, I think hockey is for like mostly winter game. And unfortunately, like in Taiwan, we don't have real winter. And in winter, we like the coldest time will be like still above 5 degrees, above 10 degrees. So it's not really winter compared in Germany. So I think that the sport we do a lot would be like table tennis, volleyball, basketball, and baseball. So I think like a lot of people will do these different sports. But for us, like we also really like to travel to Japan or Korean to do skiing sport because we don't have a nice ski place in Taiwan. So we also travel to North part for skiing place. Yeah.
So it's more American sports. So
I think so. Yeah.
Cool.
And
interesting.
My question is also, do you like to live in Germany? What are your future plans?
My future plan. So I felt, for me, I would say in general, I quite like the country-wise. I mean, I still trying to learn the language. I could understand really basic thing, but I still want to grow my German ability a bit more. So I also plan to stay longer. I hope I could deliver some tech talks in German in like 3 years or in 5 years. I hope I could do something like this. So for me, definitely I will stay a bit longer, at least 3-5 years. And then I also found like people in Germany, or I would say in general Europe, it's like I would say it's a land that people really nice to stay with a green place, like green park, close to forest, close to green place. And then also people would like to go to the nature quite a lot, which is like I also like these different activities. So that I would say for me, in explore different cultures and also explore different career paths, that I will like to stay here a bit longer. Yeah.
Cool. So the question is, now you are 2.5 years here in Germany. Yeah. My question is, the difference is if you have a smaller town, it's a little bit of a problem having only your English language. So Dipti from Mumbai asked, what is the difference if I came here and do not speak German? And Sarah is our third. Yeah, we have a lot of and she now is going to a smaller company. She's going from a bigger company to a smaller company. And therefore, the question is it a good one? In Berlin, you have such friends, and you still think you have also the possibility, except of Corona, to have other Taiwan people and so on.
Yeah.
Is it the possibility, if you have the bigger towns, that you can only with English and stay there and have a good connection and still, because the culture is different, and you were in Europe, you were in Uppsala. Uppsala is a small town.
Yes.
That's a university town. Therefore, it's different.
It's different. Yeah.
Yeah. But for the culture and so on, it's a little bit. That is the first thing. But coming to here, it's you can have it only with English. And now you say, okay, I want to do that, but you can do it differently. That means it with you. So that is my question.
Yeah, I think for me, I'm kind of like the person like really like to learn new stuff, and then also really like to travel around different countries. So for me, one of the reasons why I want to move to Europe, because like when I was in Taiwan and then I want to make a trip plan to Europe, it's kind of like really far. And then, one thing is really big difference will be in Germany. If you work in a company, usually you will at least 25 or 26 holidays per year. In Taiwan, we have 7 days. So it's like, if you only have 7 days and then you have 2 days fly from Taiwan to here, and then you stay 2 days in Germany or some other countries in Europe, and then you have to fly back. Yeah. It's like 7 days is never enough. So for me, if I really like to traveling around like Europe or like North Africa also, I need some more dates. And then if I stay here, then I will definitely have cheaper traveling expense as well. And then I have more chance to visit not only the big city, but also the small cities. So I think like also small cities in Germany is like a really beautiful one. Like I remember when I visited some like small areas around Berlin, it's also like a really green and really nice place for hiking. So for me, like I would say in general, it's not only about the culture differences, but also the environment. And then I still want to explore more about not only the country, but also like the place around it. Yeah.
And what about the health system in Germany or the tax system? So that's all different. No?
Yeah, I think the healthcare system, I think it's quite different. For example, like in Taiwan, like usually people, no matter they have like really small, just like cough, or they have a serious one, they always go to big hospital. So it's like they always crowd of people there. But in Germany, it's like you first go to your house doctor, and then house doctor say that, oh, maybe you should have a tea, or you should at home for 3 days, or later on they help you connect with other clinics or bigger hospitals. So I think like the resources in Germany is more well distributed with different levels, and then with different serious things in like taking care of patient. And then the tax also different. So for example, like people was like if you work in Europe, your tax will be much more when you compare you work in Asia, in my hometown as well. But I found actually like in German, if you count different tax, actually would be kind of like not only your income tax, but also like healthcare, different insurance for your retirement, etc. There are a lot of different types. So if you separate as like small things, if you count the things here and then compare to what we had in like a Taiwanese government, you have found is like similar, but just we charge in different way. So for example, like in German, when you get the salary, it's kind of like after tax. And then in Taiwan, the money that you would get monthly, your salary, would be like a before tax. So you have to pay mostly when you do the tax declaration. And then in Germany, it's mostly like you already pay the government. So then when you do the tax declaration, it's kind of encourage yourself to get the money back. So I think these two are different things that for me is kind of interesting to see two governments doing things in different way. It's not good or bad, but just like different things. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that's it. Yeah. Therefore, it's a question. We do not talk to the MVP Coffee Party. Sometimes we do it in a special way.
Another one.
We have to, because we do not have so many people from outside. And if you cannot see that if you come and let's say, okay, 3 or 4 months. So I have that think that Sarah also now have 2 years, and she's now thinking a little bit different about this thing. You have to see.
That's very interesting to see the difference of meanings and cultural, for example, of Sarah. Yeah, that's a good example. We have a MVP Coffee Clutch. She traveled to Germany 2 weeks before, 3 weeks before, like this. And talking today with her, I think we have to make one more with her. Talking today with her, she's a little bit different culture set, or so if you live here and you're longer here, that's, for example, that's normal with the tax system, and it's normal with the healthcare, and you go to your health doctor, and it's normal, for example, that you have in Berlin an airport that's not ready, and you can travel and you can travel with train, and it's every time too late, but it's better than in the USA. But in the USA there's we want to travel with the train, there is no train, so we know all of this different. But for me, it is very important. That's why I love also these MVP coffee parties, to talk with people out of another culture set. So the cultural differences, the language, and English and the IT, putting together all of us. So
agree.
Yeah, I'm very proud and honored to have you here today. And it's very
I think we should do that with the three ladies we have, with Dipti, Sarah, and you.
That's great.
We have to look.
Perfect idea.
Together is okay, but we have to look for different time zones. So in Europe it's easy, but for Dipti it's now midnight. So therefore we have to do it on a Saturday or something else. It's not so quite, but we know
it's possible.
We will have you next time, because all we looking for the next 2 days, or not 2 days, 3 days. Tomorrow in the evening it starts, and I still have to look. And therefore, after this great event with a lot, they make it all 3 times speaking. So I will prepare my sessions and look for the sessions of the build. We talk about the build. That's also an online event. And we have talked, Raphael and other people has talked, Teams is not always the best thing. Networking is not established. You have no possibility there. But they also have to learn, because they're working from home, and you have to see, they learn, and they have to prepare the sessions 3 times. So that's a good thing. If you are not in the same time zone, you have to look for the second or for the third. Even if it's a night, because it's the best one. They have it done the first. Sometimes they have some broken off errors. The second one is the better one, and the third one, it's in but
maybe the second one is the best one. Maybe.
So what it is, tomorrow starts the Build Conference.
Yes.
One of the biggest worldwide developer conferences, and it's virtual and free for everyone. And some of us got a build package. Hans, I know you got also one. I got a build package with. wait! Oh,
you already have it.
With a build package, and it's very interesting. I saw on the sessions. Oh, there's a conference pass.
I have a conference pass for an online event.
That's cool.
You have to show it to your wife.
Now I have it here. And
for the remote one. That's
awesome. It's a good idea. It's an awesome idea. That's really cool. So a little bit at the end, a little bit view in the future of the next 3 days. We all know, we know what happened a little bit in our categories in the next days. It's not allowed to talk today, but we can make at the end of the week a little short. So what do you think? What happened? It's more Azure, more AI in every part of product. What do you think?
Yeah, I think it's more like influenced with different applications. And then for me, myself, I'm looking for more case studies, like how it has been implemented in different enterprise and then the case. So I think not only for like the Azure itself, but now like more and more like a Power App, and then also AI influenced the O365 as well. So there's a lot of like different application that you could enable the AI function in there. So I'm also look forward to that.
Perfect. And we talk next week again with you. Yes. And we will see what happens, and then we can talk about that. Because I also.
Can we make a very short one with the build? I think that's a good idea.
What is short one?
Longer. Why?
A build.
So I wish you all the best for the next days, month, and also for the next days with the new Build conference. And we all have to view a little bit. I'm on traveling, but we have a look at the Build conference, at the sessions. We have 3 chances. So choose the right one. We will see. And yeah, thank you very much, Mia, that you are visiting today at our MVP Coffee Party. And very cool, nice story. So thank you very, very much. And see you back with the other woman, and we will see what happens. Thank you very much. So bye-bye.
Bye. The MVP Coffee Party.